I might need that light. Now I'm gonna fold y'all up. Small size. I'll stick you up under there. And then hopefully we can all see what we got under there. Now see, that's where the drive shaft is going into the transmission. There's, looks like about an inch of play above there's about an inch of play up in here where that is, and it looks like the bell housing is sitting right on that cross member. Almost looks like it was made to sit on it, doesn't it? Now I'm wondering if having a little rubber cradle up under there would actually make a little bit of sense. Oh yeah. Now I talked earlier about taking this off right here. I'll bring this light back here. Now there's a piece of flat angle iron up on top of that cross member, and that's sitting almost on that. Right here, you see that flat bar? This is just about sitting on it. Which has me wondering even more than ever if I was using that other flywheel, which is open on the bottom. It's going to have a smaller, not flywheel, that other bell housing is going to have a smaller flywheel than this one. This one that I'm pointing at, I can't remember, maybe it's 14 inches, 14 and a half or something. The new one's going to be 12 3/4 or something like that. Y'all, anyway, if that was open on the bottom, and then, you know, that other flywheel, that other bell housing has two little areas on each side of it where you can, where there's a mount, and you could run a mount off to that, and you could also trim that little crookedy piece. What that would do is let this maybe come down a little bit more. Right now, where my normal motor mount would be on this car would be right on top of the steering box. Now here's where the Cadillac motor mount was, and what used to happen on these motors is that people used to, well actually they make a motor mount that'll run right off of this front of this motor right here. They used to make one that was like a cradle that went underneath that, and then it had two little pieces that came out. This is almost set up where something like that would fit it. And I could also make a motor mount like that. Now, let's take another measurement while we're under here, because this is about where we're going to want that to sit based on the length of the drive shaft and everything. So let's go over here and grab a tape measure. I'm right chilled, I tell you. It's colder than it should be today. I'm just going to say that. So this is, that's about more than 5 inches from there. If we come out from the front of the block, that's more like, oh, well, that's 6 inches to the pulley, and here's the pulley. So then you're going to have another 4 inches, so that's about 10 inches from the front of that motor to the radiator. So here's where the radiator sits right here. So I've got room for my fan and everything to fit just about perfect right with that sitting right there. It may be that the best course of action for me is either to acquire one of those cradle engine mounts or make one. Now, another problem I'm going to have with this mount sitting here is this is where my fuel pump is going to be, right here, and this is sitting right here. So I might need to relocate this up a little bit, or you know, on this side I can move it back a little bit because there's nothing here, but on this other side I've got a steering box right there, so moving it back a little ain't gonna do much for me because I'm gonna be in the way of my steering box right there. So I got several things to consider here. I'm gonna go in the house and look. I remember you used to be able to buy those cradle style front engine motor mount things. They kind of came as a kit and people used them a lot when they were building T-buckets and stuff. And I think with one of those type of engine mounts in the front, and if I used this bell housing and I used these mounts right here on the back of it, that looks like they would almost fall. They would fall very close to that bar right there, I believe. So there's a chance I could use that bell housing on the back and that other type of motor mount on the front. And if it wasn't for this gas pump, I could use one and just come back to that, but that would mean installing an electric gas pump, which is absolutely an option. It's just not an option I'm in love with because I don't like an electric fuel pump because I know they're more likely to have a fire with one of them than you are otherwise. I'm gonna go in the house and do some looking and see if anybody's got any of those old style front engine motor mounts. As far as the firewall goes, we got good clearance back here, right in here. Distributor is going to sit right here, or that rear vent will sit here. Distributor will sit right here. There's plenty of room between that and the firewall.